spring has sprung as there were smiles all around. We will take you to the diamonds and to the courts because, as you know, that's our racket. Make that leap to your most comfortable spot. Sports Night is next.
Welcome to Sports Night. I'm Joe Young.
And I'm Howie Shapiro. And I should have added spring has sprung, as you mentioned, sort of. Because we got winter again for a day, and now it's hopefully getting rid of the little bit of snow that came on Saturday. And
well, and a lot of teams not able to get onto their fields until this week. I believe both baseball and softball were going to be given the green light to finally get on their fields for full practice and games today. I don't know if Sunday's snow slowed them down, but people are getting frustrated being inside. Who can blame them?
Well, yeah.
We're about three and a half weeks into the spring season, and they haven't been outside yet until this past week. You go from 80 for like 2 or 3 days in a row to all of a sudden cold and snow, and now to the 60s. It's bizarre. It's Minnesota. Yep, that is. Well, some teams getting some action in last week. Baseball team able to schedule a couple of games on one on turf starting against Minnetonka on Thursday, and it didn't go so well. Cardinals losing that one 11-1. Tommy Dutton took the loss. He pitched the first 3 innings, but there you see it. Only a couple of earned runs. Couple of errors, only 5 hits for Minnetonka, and that's, Cardinals though 2 for 13 or 2 for 21 with 3 walks and 13 strikeouts. That's the key. The errors in the field and the strikeouts, I think, obviously, and then giving up too many base on balls. And Prior Lake, it didn't go any better on Friday. They went down there. That is a grass field, but didn't change their fortunes at all. They lose 10-0. And are off to an 0-2 start. While it's not the start they were hoping for, Cardinals know it's just the first step in a long season. And due to the late start, they know they'll have to bounce back quickly because the road won't get any easier. They return a fair amount of starters, but they're still a young squad looking to prove themselves.
We'll be junior heavy, and those juniors, a lot of them got a lot of experience last year on the varsity. They took some lumps, and they learned and they grew from it.
Cardinals finally got outside last week after a full 3 weeks in the fieldhouse to start the season. They're hoping their play will continue to improve along with the weather.
It feels great. I mean, we've been waiting for a long time. Feels like we've been stuck in the gym forever, but finally got some nice weather out here, so excited to get going.
The energy's just been so much better and so much more upbeat. Yesterday was our first day. We were on the football field, and everybody was just having so much fun, and just feels really good to be outside.
The Cardinals have managed just 7 wins in each of the last 4 seasons, but they're confident this year they can take it to the next level.
This is probably the most talented pitching staff we've had since I've been here, and probably the most talented team overall. So I know these guys are raring to get going, so why not? Let's pack some games together and get them going.
First couple of games got away from them, but the Cardinals can't let that get them down. We visited with them 2 days before their opener, and several of the captains talked about the importance of staying positive and maintaining focus.
What I think they need to work on the most is keeping the right mindset and not getting down on themselves when something doesn't go their way, and just keep their head up.
The Cardinals will need to follow that advice as they open the conference schedule this week with a pair of games on the road. They've set their sights high, and they need to continue to push for those lofty goals.
Personal goals, I guess just hit the ball as good as I can, play good defense, pitch well. Team, I think we can compete for a section championship. Go to state.
The Cardinals have a lot of confidence in all aspects of the game. They feel their pitching, hitting, and defense are all strong enough to compete for the title.
If we're doing the things we need to do to be successful, the wins are going to take care of themselves. There's not any easy games in our conference. There's 0 easy games. So if we worry about what we're doing, I think the results are going to kind of take care of themselves.
So certainly hoping that they can, kind of get things right their ship a little bit as they get more consistently outside. They're on the road a couple of times this week at Armstrong on Tuesday, at Centennial on Wednesday, and Howie,
we'll be there.
Softball team actually started their game indoors.
They did.
Their season with a game indoors last Monday at Maple Grove, and similar to the boys, things just not quite going their way. Ryan Mellum had a nice start to her season with a couple of doubles and 3 trips. But 12-1 the final score in favor of the Crimson. Then on Tuesday, went over and played on the turf at Spring Lake Park, and it got even more rough, losing that one 20-2. Semensky did have a double and drove in both runs for the Cardinals, but not the start they were looking for. And then we caught up with them actually on Thursday when it was super windy out and they were still not allowed to be on their own field.
Yeah, nice to get on your own field. But things can really only get better for the softball team, and they seem confident they'll be able to turn it around rather quickly. The Cardinals come into the season with a new skipper at the helm. Alicia Nelson takes the reins of the team after 4 years as an assistant with the program, and she's excited about this group's potential.
I have a great group this year. They're all super nice. They want to be here. They've all just been putting in a ton of work, so they're just fun to be around.
The Cardinals' first couple of games didn't go their way, but that should be expected when you have so many new faces both behind the bench and on the field. Still, they're very encouraged by the work they're seeing from everyone early on.
So I definitely think there's a strength with all of the effort that's being shown right now. And I mean, the weakness is we're a very young team right now. I mean, we lost 13 seniors. It's definitely hard.
It was a long couple weeks in the field house, and they didn't have an outdoor practice until after those first 2 games. They'll finally be able to practice on actual softball fields this week. That should lift some spirits and hopefully lead to better results.
I think everybody just wanted to be outside in the warm weather. Like during softball season, everybody just gets to get outside, get a little dirty. It's hard being in the gym just because it's hard to do any infielding and outfielding and stuff, but I think we made the most of it and tried to have a good time.
I try to make things fun. I was a player myself, and I know that it can get pretty repetitive and boring at times, so I try to just mix it up and make it fun.
Fun is a big part of this team, as it should be. It should be a primary focus for all sports teams, and the captains take it seriously, knowing not all of their leadership will show up on the stat sheet.
I never shut my mouth, ever. I love just making my teammates laugh, make sure we're having fun at the same time as getting hard work in, because when you're having fun, practice goes by fast and you don't really think of it as work anymore.
Softball team also starting its season on the road this week at Armstrong Tuesday and Centennial on Thursday, and all games in the spring are weather permitting. Of course. Well, the tennis team had a very busy week last week.
They did.
They got 4 matches in. They were supposed to have 3 more over the weekend, but Saturday's rain kept them from hosting that tournament. They started on Tuesday down at Buffalo, or up at Buffalo, I should say, and a big win over the Bison, who were a pretty solid club last year. Remember, the tennis team returned its entire lineup from a year ago. They beat the Bison 4-3. That's a huge deal because they lost a handful of games.
They did.
By the 4-3 score. So to start out and get the win is huge. Cooper Held and Anderson at 3rd and 4th singles win, as well as DeGroat and Wagner at 2nd doubles. Sam Murillo starting his season with a 6-0-6-0 victory. But then they go against Maple Grove, top 10 team in the state.
Always good.
There were a lot of competitive points and a lot of guys keeping relatively close, but all down the lineup, all 7 spots went in straight sets to the Crimson. After a day off on Wednesday when we spoke with them, the Cardinals bounced back with a couple more wins. They hosted Blaine on Thursday, beat the Bengals 5-2. Sam Murillo again with a 6-0-6-0 score. Ryder Held winning at 2nd singles, Cooper Held at 3rd singles, and Anderson at 4th singles, also winning by the 6-love score. Then on Friday, they went up to Rogers and beat the Royals by that same 5-2 score. Sam Murillo again, very impressive, 6-0-6-1. Cooper Held 6-0-6-1 as well. Jensvold and Savelli, I think that might have been their first win, was against Rogers after a couple close losses. Get that win, 6-love at first singles. Leet and Severson have had a nice start to the season down at the 3rd doubles spot. So far, so good, but this is just the start, and these Cardinals are on a mission. They have a ton of skill and experience coming back, and they're committed to being a contender in the conference and the section, but they know the road will not be easy.
No seniors last year, so everybody's back on the team. A lot of kids been hitting over the winter, so I think we should be really solid this year.
These Cardinals have a lot of reason to be confident. They finished with 11 wins last season, and with the added experience, they know they can be even better this spring.
We had a lot of 4-3 matches last year that we lost, and I feel like coming back this year, like, that could be another challenge that we have, like just getting those tight wins, just being on top, being the 4-3 instead of the 3-4.
Cardinals have a lot of skill and experience, and they've got great depth as well. But what's maybe most impressive is how eager they are to continue to improve.
Working with coach individually. Singles is going to work together and doubles is going to work together to win. And we're going to have a successful year because we all know it and we all believe it.
Coach Storik's philosophies are simple. Stay in the moment, only worry about what you can control, play smart, and have fun.
Get better as each day goes along and be better today than we were yesterday. And, you know, winning isn't everything, but if we can win more than we lose, it's a lot more enjoyable.
The Cardinals are setting lofty goals this year, but they believe they can achieve great things. They know their greatest challenge at times will be themselves.
I would say consistency. A lot of us will have good streaks in matches, but we want to be playing our best the whole match. And we can be a little streaky. And
the Cardinals are putting a lot of focus on the mental side of the game. They know being able to shake off bad points could make a huge difference in the biggest matches of the year.
We just do what Coach says and be a goldfish, as he said. Happiest animal in the world, 3-second memory. If we don't let it bother us, then it can't affect us negatively.
If the Cardinals can continue on their current course, things will work out well. They're hoping to keep the wind beneath their wings all season long and see just how high they can fly.
If we can make it to the section semis, I think that'd be kind of fun. I mean, we do have the number 2, 3, and 7th ranked teams in the state in our section again this year, but anything can happen any given day.
So it could be a very exciting season for the tennis squad. We'll get a look at them tomorrow when they host Anoka. We will have that for you here on CTN. They will host Armstrong on Wednesday, and then they have a different quadrangular or different 3-4 team tournament they're hosting this Saturday. So looking forward to, seeing what they can accomplish this season and getting a chance to see them in person.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I think they've got a good club. Nice way to start the season at 3-1, and so we'll see what they can do tomorrow.
So the track and field teams have had a couple of time trials. They did have their first tri-meet of the season. I believe it was a tri-meet. It may have been a quad of the Northwest Suburban Conference season outdoors last week at Anoka. Team scores were not kept, but some pretty impressive finishes. Both coaches nice enough to send me some highlighted results. For the boys, Kaijan Cummings-Coleman won first place in the 100 and 200 meter dashes. Jackson Smith was first place in the high jump, went 6 foot 2 inches. They had two guys clear 6 foot in essentially the first meet of the season. Some really nice times from Jerry Freeman in the 300 hurdles. Peyton Martinek finished second in the 1600. 4x1 and 4x2 teams both winning those events, and you may remember that the 4x1 team made it to state last year. 3/4 of that relay team do return. Michaela D'Souza for the girls won 200 meter dash with a time of 25.8. She also won the long jump, went 17 feet 5 inches, and she also led both the 4x1 and 4x2 to second place finishes in the relays. Michaela D'Souza, looking forward to what she can do as a senior.
Absolutely.
She was third place in both the 100 and 200 meter dashes at sections last year. Confident, especially after speaking with her, that she's going to get to state in at least one, if not both, of those events this season.
We'd love to see it.
Some other really, really nice times. Some of the names, I'm just going to throw them out there because there's just so much here. Solang Barkin is a freshman. Bailey Rao, a sophomore, both doing well in the 200 meter dash. First time the discus throwers have thrown at all, and Marilyn Mangu threw for over 80 feet, 80 foot 1 inch. That's pretty impressive on essentially the first real throw of the season. Ruby Demmer, no surprise, leading the distance team, and Stella Bone Ruby in the 800 meter and Stella in the 1600 meter. We've seen them both throughout the cross country over the years. Already very impressive and still very, very young.
You bet. Well, the boys track team has really high hopes this season. They've got huge numbers, including a lot of talent and experience. Despite the weather keeping them inside the first few weeks, the Cardinal coaches said it's been one of the smoothest starts to a season, thanks to incredible leadership and tremendous effort across the board.
Amazing. We have more kids than I've ever had since I've been here.
Coach Sullivan says it's all thanks to great recruiting by his veterans, bringing in solid athletes from other sports, giving the Cardinals skill and depth in every event.
That's what we want, though. Like, this should be, the weight room should be empty in the spring. We should all be in running because we run, we lift, we jump, we do it all. Make you a better athlete. That's our goal.
Starting in the field house is always hard, especially for all those who are new to the team. But that's where the veterans stepped up again, helping everyone stay focused, stay positive, and make the best of the situation.
We're a team, so we're going to get through it together. So them learning from the captains has helped us a lot. And I'd say the mood has been good because we've all been able to work together, no arguments, things like that. So
the Cardinals lost some solid athletes to graduation last year, including 2 state qualifiers. But they return a lot of talent too. And with so many multi-sport athletes joining the program, they're united in their commitment to improve.
I'd say some of our strengths are just our determination and our hard work at practice. You know, everyone out here putting in the work. If it's field events, sprints, distance, everyone's out here putting in the work on the track, and we all kind of feel like one family.
The Cardinals expect the season to have its ups and downs. They know there will be times of trouble and doubt, but they also know how to pick each other up and keep each other focused on the big picture.
I remind them of the goal that they have for the end of the season. I tell them that if you want to accomplish that, you have to stay mentally locked in, you have to stay focused. I always remind them of the goal that they have in the end.
The Cardinals hope to improve on their team finishes from last season, and they hope to send a few more guys to state. But mostly they're committed to seeing every athlete finish the season bigger, stronger, and faster than when they started.
Coach them all, because that's our theme this year as coaches is coach them all. Making sure every kid gets coached like the top kid, the bottom kid, doesn't matter who you are.
The girls track team has a lot of new faces this season, and it's not just new girls in the lineup. Longtime head coach Denny Green stepped away after last spring to focus on his growing family. But the Cardinals were fortunate enough to find Ken Jagasic, who brings 35 years of coaching experience and stays with the same simple but important philosophy.
Having fun. I think we get more kids out if we're having fun, so we try to do that.
The Cardinals are having more fun since they finally got outside just last week. They also hope it will help them focus and get into a rhythm for the season.
I'm just trying to find a routine, just kind of get our discipline down for the season. So we're just a work in progress, but since we're outside now, it's a lot better.
With so many new girls, it will take a while to figure out the best fit for each athlete. In the first few weeks, they plan to really push everyone to try their hardest and push their limits.
I think the greatest challenge is just pushing through the hard times, because I know it's very tempting to quit or to sit out on days that are hard. So I think the hardest challenge is probably going to be consistency, because when you're starting out, it's hard, but once you get into that routine and you kind of get used to what you're doing, it gets better.
Cardinals plan to work hard all season, trying to be the best they can be. At the same time, they know it's important to take care of themselves so they can be their best when it matters most.
Just making sure that we are listening to our bodies and, doing what we need to do to take care of it so that we can run our fastest.
It's a lesson even some veterans learn the hard way. Kennedy Martinson is sidelined to start the season with an overuse injury, but she's determined to make it back to state for the 3rd straight season.
It's been really hard not doing anything, but to get back to where I was, it's going to take a lot of focus, it's going to take a lot of hard work, probably more than it has in the past few years, but I'm ready to do that.
Kennedy isn't the only one injured to start the season. While the Cardinals are eager to get everyone healthy, the real focus is making sure that everyone is 100% at the end of the year.
In the bigger meets, your top point getters are going to make more of a difference than in a 4-5 or 3-4-5 team meet. So if we can get healthy across the board, and we're going in the right direction with some of those girls, I think we can make more of an impact in a 14-team conference meet.
Like all sports, track and field can be a grind. Cardinals know what it will take for them to reach their goals, but most importantly, they know that no one will have to do it alone.
And we help push each other, and we make sure that, like, even when another person is feeling down, that we work on making them feel like they can accomplish what they need to accomplish.
A lot to be excited about for both of those track and field teams. A lot of great athletes, a lot of new faces, and just huge numbers on both sides.
Yeah, it's great to see. And I'll tell you, you talk about the athletes. I mean, there's some really good athletes on the girls' side. The boys, they're just an amazing amount of athletes on that team. That should be a lot of fun to watch.
And really, just from watching them a little bit on the track, you can see just how fast and how dangerous they could be. Really hoping to see Kennedy Martinson back in action sooner rather than later. Section champion in 3 events last year.
We really hope so.
Very impressive. They have the Osseo Invite on Thursday this week, and then it's at the White Bear Invitational a week from Saturday.
Well, the boys golf team is hoping to finally get a season started at North Fork on Thursday, weather permitting, of course. The Cardinals have a really solid group this spring, and they're hoping it all lead to a really solid results. They've had plenty of time in the simulator, and now they're ready to show their stuff.
Getting outside, you know, right now just being inside we've had enough of that. So we just want to feel the sunshine and, you know, watch some putts drop.
We caught up with the golf team a couple of weeks back. They've been in the simulators a couple of weeks already, and they felt good about what they'd seen so far.
There was a lot of kids who, over the winter, you could definitely tell that they've been practicing because they've stepped up a lot. I think our varsity team has quite a few that are like returning, and then there's also quite a few younger guys.
The Cardinals returned 5 guys with significant varsity experience, but no one's spot is guaranteed. The team had an influx of new talent, and nearly 30 guys will be competing for those 6 varsity spots.
So internally, I'm hoping that we have a lot of guys who are pushing each other for spots, varsity and JV. And then externally, you know, we just want to go out and compete against other teams and shoot our best scores.
Bunker Hills finally opened up last Thursday, so the Cardinals are trying to adapt to real golf as quickly as possible. The simulators help them groove their swings, but it's just not quite the same as actually playing on the course.
Big jump just because the mats versus the grass, the club contact, and putting, the greens. It's hard to put on carpet, then go out and put on greens of speed. That's the biggest part.
Taking good swings, making good contact, even managing the course is just half the battle. Staying focused and keeping control of your emotions can sometimes be the greatest challenge.
Yeah, sometimes it gets hard to stay level-headed when things aren't going your way, but we have good coaches and good people to kind of make it so even if you're having a bad day of golf or a bad round, they kind of help you just enjoy it no matter what. It's a fun group to be around.
And fun is, after all, the name of the game. The Cardinals face some elite teams in their conference and section, and while they're hoping to have some great scores, they're keeping their goals realistic.
We've never been the best team, but I like to think that we have a lot of fun. We beat a couple teams, but not many. So, I mean, as long as we're having a good time, I think that's all that matters.
Well, let's hope the weather continues to cooperate. They're at North Fork on Thursday and then at Golden Valley on Monday. They're hoping that they'll be able to get their Bunker Hills invite in. I think it's a week from Thursday.
Yeah, just, you know, looking at the weather later in the week, I don't think we're going to get any snow, but I think we might get a little rain. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that holds up.
If it's
move a little further north.
If it's light enough, they'll get out and play.
Yes.
They want to play that bad. Well, the girls opened their conference schedule this. They did get their season started last week with a tournament, Shamrock Invitational, hosted by Osseo on Thursday last week, and a nice finish for Eleanor Defoe, one of the team's captains, finished 10th overall with a 91. Sophia Meyer was next on the team with a 116, and there you see the rest falling in the 130s to 140s. They're hoping those numbers will improve as they move forward. The girls will open their conference schedule this week with matches against Anoka and Andover on Tuesday and Thursday. Like the boys, the Lady Cardinals are enjoying a boost in numbers this spring. So in some ways, the delay to getting out on the course, it's a blessing in disguise.
I prefer starting in the simulators, especially with a new young team. I think it gives us a chance to really get down our swings without the embarrassment of being out on the range.
The Cardinals lost a lot to graduation, but the new girls coming in are eager to learn and ready to push the veterans for varsity spots. So a little more time in the simulators is actually kind of a benefit.
We're fortunate to have the simulators up at Bunker Hills here. These are just, I know what other teams are going through, and they don't have this, so I think it kind of puts us ahead. Having to order tots and curds every practice, is that, you know, kind of a weigh on you? I don't think so. I don't think so.
The Cardinals veterans are providing great leadership for their new teammates, helping them learn the ropes and get up to speed, but most importantly, teaching them not to sweat the little things.
Just have fun. Like, don't stress about where the ball goes. Just worry about getting your good stance and getting a good swing down and just learning from there.
The Cardinals weren't able to get outside before their first tournament last week. Now they're hoping to get out on the course a little more frequently because, after all, that's what golf is all about.
Golf is my favorite sport. I love the connections that you make with not only the girls on your team, but the girls that you meet while you're playing. I think it's a really fascinating sport that you go out on a course and spend 5 hours with girls that you've never met before with no phones. I think it really is a nice way to tap in with yourself and meet other people.
The Cardinals have a good blend of veteran leadership and youthful exuberance, and they know it's a recipe for success because success is measured in many ways.
Seeing the girls play golf on the course, we got some that have been in the program for a while now, and I want to see them, you know, finish strong. The ones that are new, I want to see them just kind of fall in love with the game.
So both events for the Cardinals at Bunker Hills this week. On Tuesday, they're the hosts against Anoka, and technically the visitors on Thursday when they take on the Andover Huskies. We did not get to meet with the lacrosse teams. We are hoping to be able to do that here in the next week or two. Both teams able to get their season started last week. The boys team from Spring Lake Park, Coon Rapids, dropping their opener to Elk River Zimmerman 11-4. Nolan Hazelwood with a goal and 2 assists. Herzog, Burke, and Ose had the other goals as they fall to 0-1. They are at Anoka tonight, and our crackpot CTN team is there, led by the broadcasting voice of Bill Hupp. They are hosting Hastings on Thursday over at Spring Lake Park.
Did you say Bill Hupp was a crackpot?
No, I say.
Oh, okay. Just wanted to clarify.
Now I'm not even sure.
I think I've thrown you for a loop.
Well, the Champlin Park girls team definitely threw the Cardinals for a loop in Game 1. We were there on Thursday night. It was It was a tough one. Champlin Park really did not play very nicely. They did not share the ball at all. They dominated the entire time. 15 different girls scored goals as they beat the Cardinals 22-0. Girls are at Blaine tonight and will host Spring Lake Park on Wednesday. And as I mentioned, we hope to meet up with both of those teams here in the coming weeks.
That would be good. Yeah, it was a tough opener for the girls, quite obviously. As you mentioned, we were there. And you know, when the other team puts on a clinic, it's tough to compete. And unfortunately, they'll get better.
They will.
Yeah.
And we hope to get some games in, certainly moving forward. We have the tennis team on the schedule against the Panthers on Tuesday. That'll start live at 4 o'clock or shortly before. We hope to see the baseball team on Wednesday. I will unfortunately not be there with the broadcasting voice again of Bill Hupp taking my place. And then girls lacrosse again on Wednesday of next week. Schedules forever evolving during the spring season. But we finally got our season underway here on Sportsnight. We hope you'll continue to join us throughout the spring here on CTN. We want to thank everybody out there for joining us. Continue to support everything we do here at CTN for the entire crew, including Howie Shapiro. I'm Joe Young, saying good night.